going to continue along now. I can see our next speaker is here joining us. I'm just going to bring him in now, and then we'll get to know Nico. So Nico Jacobs is a helicopter pilot and the founder of Rhino 911. So Rhino 911 provides emergency helicopter rescue to rhinos injured or orphaned due to poaching and other injuries. So they've responded to to hundreds of calls for help since their inception. They provide aerial support when poachers are spotted in reserves. They bring veterinarians to injured rhinos, and they rescue orphaned rhino calves. So I am going to bring Nico in now. Hi, Nico. How you doing?
Good morning, Joe. Well, and yourself?
Good, good. It's so great to see you on World Ranger Day. Can you tell us where you are today?
Well, I'm up in Madikwe at a farm called Purple Rain. Come to visit a friend of mine. So yes, we also assisting their farm with rhino conservation, throughout the year. So Brad and his wife Karen, basically the managers of the reserve, and we're just here to visit them and talk about the conservation efforts.
All right, that's great. It looks, I'm just kind of looking behind you. It looks like a beautiful spot to spend the morning, to start the day.
No, it is absolutely beautiful, lodge. It's very pristine and so beautifully done. So I'll give you a bit, just like an overview. I have to go to a spot to get good reception. So anyway, good morning and thank you for your efforts.
Oh yeah, thank you. Well, Nico, I'd love to talk a little bit about the work that you do, how it supports rangers, and such. So I think I'd love to start a little bit about how Rhino 911 came to be.
Okay, Joe. So I've been flying for the parks for over 15 years. We started Rhino 911 officially, I think, 5 years back, where we, myself and a couple of other people that helped us, with the initiative to try and conserve. There was a huge problem, concerning rhinos since 2008, and we then, started this aerial support initiative, called Rhino 911, where we then go out on calls that we receive for injured and wounded animals. As a matter of fact, any animal in distress. So that's basically our mission and what we try to achieve, and we've been very successful in helping animals and making a difference.
Yeah, absolutely, no question. We had the pleasure of hosting you for an event with classrooms on World Rhino Day last year, and you were able to just take classrooms on an experience. I don't think any of those students will ever forget getting right out into the field in the helicopter, starting and dehorning a rhino live for the students. I have that clip queued up because I'd love to share it today. The whole event was about 45 minutes, but I made kind of a 4-minute summary of the event. And I think it really shows, kind of you in action and how, the extreme measures that conservation has to take to protect those rhinos from being poached. So, Nico, if it's okay with you, I'd like to share that clip.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
All right, then we can maybe discuss a little bit of what we just saw. So I do want to just, fair warning, it may be a little bit surprising when you see, the rhino being dehorned, but, as Nico will, I'm sure, assure you, is they don't feel it. It's pretty much similar to us having, our fingernails clipped, only you need a little bit bigger clipper, right, Nico?
Yeah, no, it's a operation that we've been, actually very, very good at. And I might just add for your viewers, it's never, it was never our intent or ever that we wanted to see rhinos without horns, but it's actually become so critical. And since we've started dehorning about 4 years back, we've literally had reserves that lost 80% of their population, now on a steady growth. We were in a situation where we lost in some reserves, 4 animals a day. Even up to in other circumstances, even up to 4 or 5 animals, a month. But after we started with the trimmings of the horn, it declined to, within the last 16 months, we've only lost 9 animals, where we used to lose, 4 a month, 5 a month. So it's been an absolute dramatic change in rhino conservation, and I'm very happy that it, spooled over to the other reserves, and all of them are doing it, which is great for us to see. It's not the ultimate solution, but at least it's something that we can do now. That's in our time helping it, because some reserves are still losing as much as 50 rhino a month as we speak with you now. So it's critical that we need to create this kind of awareness so people can see what's actually going on.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the clip, and then we can continue our discussion. So here we go. I'm going to load it up. Right now to Nico, flying by helicopter. Nico, how you doing?
Hey Joe, good afternoon to everybody there, and nice having you live streaming with us today. Thank you so much. A privilege on World Rhino Day.
Yeah, Nico, it's absolutely incredible. We've done a lot of events around the world. This is our first one from a helicopter, so you're making a little exploring by the seat of your pants history today.
Oh, that's beautiful, Joe. It's such amazing to have all the people on board with us today. I hope the signal lasts. So I really hope that it can pull through. We're in a little bit of an isolated area, but we'll see how it all turns out. This is Ryan Jeffries, the vet behind me. He's assisting us. He's the veterinarian today, so he's helping me with the rhinos today. We're looking for a rhino that's got a horn. That's potentially a problem for poachers, so you'll see them through the CP line coming through now. And it'll be the back one. We're going to dart the back rhino. You can see there. Joe, have you got visual?
Yeah, we've got a visual. We can see them on the ground.
Yeah, so we're gonna just gonna put away the camera now, and then we're gonna start with the darting process. Joe, you'll see the animal is almost down and sleeping, so we have to get the vet down just quickly to just stabilize the breathing. I'm just gonna go around the animal so you guys can just see what we see. And we've got the ground crew coming in. So you can see the animal is basically asleep there where he is now. And we're just going to try and land a little bit away. So just excuse that I'm going to go off the screen now. I just want to quickly land so we can get the vet to the animal.
Yeah, no worries, Nico. This is incredible.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Joe. Just check my tail, please. Ryan, my tail. Okay, you've got visual on the tail. Okay.
We should sit quite badly. Sorry? Yeah, so let's roll her over.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Joe, so what we've got is we just put a blindfold up for the rhino. So you can see we're just going to let her go down quickly. That's it. So basically there you can see that is all. It's just touching on its active growth point. And this is about a 300 gram rhino horn, so this probably would be worth in excess of about 10 to 15,000 US dollars, just this little piece. That's why this commodity is so unbelievably sought after. But he's fully awake now.
Very impressive, Nico, from start to finish. That was a quick process.
Okay, Joe, I'm not gonna go closer. So anyway, that was what we would like to show you today.
Well, Nico, that I just love watching that clip. I think back to that day, and I played at a lot of conferences as well when I speak with educators, and they're always kind of at first, surprised, but then they start to think about how it can really impact students and get them thinking about conservation and how serious of an issue it actually is.
Yes, Joe. It's always amazing to have new people involved in getting people, helping us. It's a problem that I personally don't think will ever stop. There's so many debates about CITES or the ban or but at the end of the day, we need to get the work done, and the work needs to be done on the ground. So, we need people's awareness, and like initiatives that you're having here today is critical for the future of these animals. Animals are rhinos are by a long shot not out of the woods yet in terms of their growth, and there's a lot of success, and especially in the private sector, huge success happening, and that's why I can't emphasize enough with your World Ranger Day that it's these people are doing amazing work. I mean, without them, you can literally think we get our calls from the guys on the ground, the people that's there, that's visible and walking the veld and doing their work, from the guys with the dogs to the anti-poaching people, the people that check the fences. So hats off to them. They are our ears and eyes on the ground, and that's how we get calls to say, listen, we've spotted a dehydrated calf walking alone. Then 99% it's the mom has been poached. Then we go and fly and find the mom that's been poached, and this calf is then anything we've had from a day, a day to 5 days walking without any milk, and that. So that's where we then would get the team out to dart the calf, airlift the calf to an orphanage, but it's absolutely hats off to the rangers on the field, on the ground.
And so that is one of the roles a helicopter can play, is getting anti-poaching units out to sites really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. The machine makes it able for us to go into very difficult situations, very difficult tight spots that we can then really get in there with the rangers, help if we've got an incursion. The rangers with the dogs and the helicopter is a beautiful combination of getting these guys and reacting as fast as we can. So that's very critical, especially when we do have a visual or something happen, to be there as quick as possible, and that's where we come in, and air support makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I wonder about the challenges. What are some of the challenges you face going out on one of those calls? I imagine poachers seeing a helicopter, it's not something that they're excited about.
Yeah, no, Joe, in all my time that I've been doing this, we've had, we've caught poachers, and it's a, you can get shot at, like I said, the terrain is very difficult to offload people. There's some situations where we literally need to hover, and the people must jump out, that there's no place to land. But as a combination of the anti-poaching guys, the rangers on the veld, on the ground, and the helicopter, the people with the dogs, it really makes for an amazing team collectively to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one aspect, but then we looked at the dehorning already, but there's also the job or the task of rescuing calves when you do find them. So what's that process like when you do find a calf, and how do you transport it and get it to a safe place?
Yeah, Joe, sorry, your previous question, I maybe didn't answer your question correctly, but just back to your point, a challenge is obviously, as you know, is getting people involved, getting people to realize that this is a huge problem we're sitting with. Although, the governments have kind of woken up to the idea that there's a problem, it's costing people huge amount of money in the private sector, on an average about 140 to 170,000 rand. So it's about $10,000 to protect an animal, just the protection of one rhino. And if you take that the animal as a live commodity with its horn on is in excess of $10,000 to $15,000. But only the horn, once that animal is dead, once that heart stops beating, the horn on the front of its nose is worth anything, it's $60,000 per kilogram. So it's worth anything up to $400,000 one horn. But the live animal worth protecting is only worth $10,000, $15,000. So that synergy just kind of, or that explanation just kind of puts it in perspective. So challenges, obviously, huge funding is required to make a difference. There's literally some days that we can't react to the calls due to funding. And I'm not talking about just Rhino 911 funding. I'm talking about the game rangers, talking about the people in the parks, getting them overtime, getting more people involved. There's so many people that want to contribute their time. That needs to be accommodated and allowed. But yeah, there are huge challenges, and I think government as a entity needs to also put in stricter policies. People need to. A simple example is need to show their ID documentation going into a gate. There needs to be a stricter gate entrances in the reserves. If you look at Rwanda, you go in and your vehicle has been tagged with a live tag, which indicates if you're off track or going faster than you should or whatever. There's so many policies that can be put into place that can, minimize the outgoing, can I say, the easiness of getting into the park and poaching. So, there's a lot we can do more, but it needs to start with stricter punishment. These people come in, they are caught with horns, with a rifle, with ammunition, and they rock up there with two senior advocates, and the thing is thrown out of court. So really a lot can be done to contribute to getting this, a better place and enhancing the survival of the species. To your point of the rhino calves, if we know and the calf has been spotted and it's a calf that we can airlift, we basically fly with the Robinson 44. If it's bigger required, then, and we know the calf is a bigger calf, then we would come in with a bigger calf and then airlift that calf. It's normally not a problem of, well, it's a weight problem, but it's getting the animal into the helicopter that is challenging sometimes. So you've seen a lot of our footage where the animal literally his tail end is outside on the left hand side, head is outside on the right hand side. That's how critical it is for us to airlift them and get them to the orphanage. And also considering the time that it takes for getting out of the park, on the road, getting to the orphanage, that animal needs to at some stages be sedated for hours and hours, 5, 6, 7 hours, which is not ideal for the animal's well-being. And by airlifting them, we get the job done.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm just searching back for a picture. I'm going to share a picture in a minute. You sent me some pictures a while back, so I'm just searching back to find one of those pictures. But while I do that, Nico, you mentioned that a big challenge is getting change done, especially at the government level. And I'm wondering, what do you think, it's going to take to get that change that everybody's kind of hoping for and looking for?
Yes, so Joe, I mean, without going into criticizing anybody or stricter policies, rhino conservation in South Africa does not enjoy the attention that it should from government, in my personal perspective. There's so much more that can be done. Limited funding is given to the parks. Their budgets are so cut down, so it's not a priority, especially in South Africa, to conserve. Yes, there's people that's doing great work, and there are government people concerned, but the private rhino owners in South Africa, I haven't got the stats now, but I mean they own much more than 50% of the total number of rhinos in South Africa. So everybody is throwing statistics around and saying this and that, and there's 18,000 rhinos or 22,000 rhinos I saw in one article. I can assure you we've got less than 15,000 white rhino, in my opinion, and less than 3,500 black rhino left, in South Africa. So you cannot work your statistically from 22,000 and work it backwards. You need to start with actual numbers, and that actual numbers can only come from proper surveys that been done, game counts, that's a game survey, actual flying the reserve, and flying the same entity 4 times, 3 or 4 times. So you get to a number that is viable, and from that number we can go forward. But and due to the vastness of Kruger, it is just such a mission for those people to protect those animals. I mean, they really, they are doing the most amazing work. The rangers and the pilots in Kruger is doing exceptional work, but it's, their funding is also limited. Their machine capabilities are limited. So, it's kind of like a billionaire's problem, but there's not a lot of funding needed to protect these animals. We just need to collectively, get the right equipment there, get the reserves properly fenced, employ more people, put up the technology systems available today, and get it protected. I mean, we've since 2008, where we lost 4, 5, 6 rhinos a day in South Africa. We probably down to about, I'd say 1 to 2 rhinos in the work that I do, and this is just my personal opinion. But so many people are giving us a lot of critical comments and stuff like that. But I can almost say to you, any person willing and that's got ideas, give it to us. I've tried every single thing given to us in terms of protecting these animals. So it's really easy to sit behind the scenes and give your opinion, but actually on the forefront of the war, it's a different story.
Yeah, and like you said, that the numbers don't lie. I mean, the statistics you shared of how many were being lost before the work that you were doing started, and the impact that it's had. I mean, like you're saying, it's not the perfect solution, but it's working right now. And when you're on the front lines of a battle, you have to do what works.
Absolutely, Joe. Look, again, I say it's not our preferred method, and it's not what we would want to do. I want to drive in the veld and see a rhino with its horn on, as God created these animals. But we are seeing huge successes. I've seen a 95% decline in poaching after we've started these projects. So there's really different that contribute to conservation.
All right. So I did find that photo I was looking for. So I'm just going to pop that photo up here really quickly here. There it is. So there we go. A little look at an unusual passenger for a helicopter, but definitely an effective way to move the young calf. So Nico, what happens next for a calf like this? You've been called. You head out there with the vet. You get the calf loaded. What's the future for that calf?
Okay, so what the veterinarians do is basically, as soon as the animal is darted, it is stable, they would then put earplugs in its ears that will dampen the, because they under anesthesia, but they're not, they still there. So we try and put the we put the earplugs in, and then we put a gel in its eyes and cover the eyes with a protecting layer of bandages, so that and it's like a swollen eye protection that they make, because once it's under anesthesia, it can't blink its eyes. So then we regularly just put that in. That calf is then airlifted and taken to the orphanage, and then there's basically just a telephonic or a personal handover from the one vet to the other vet, and said, this is what we injected in the animal, and this is what we've treated it with, and that is what their recommendations are. And then that animal is now very, very traumatized. Obviously, it's now taken slowly out of its sleep, out of anesthesia, and then the animal obviously reacts now because it's smelling the humans. It's just experienced its mother being absolutely slaughtered, and the smell of the people and the whole situation. So, that animal then needs to calm down, and that takes a day or two. But obviously it needs to drink. So we keep the earplugs in, and we keep the bandages on its eyes, and then they are introduced to the milk. And as soon as they are, can I almost say, dependent on the milk, we then slowly start removing the stuff. The earplugs come out, and it's then very active in terms of hearing what is, the sounds are much clearer, and then it's still, getting the blindfold off its eyes. Then it suddenly sees the people and gets a bit of a fright, but now it's used to the milk, and it's get that smell of the milk, and then with the interaction that happens there is critical for them, to start drinking. And then, the younger ones really do come out beautifully. It's a family animal. It's a loving animal, and they interact with their, can I almost say, handlers, people that look after them, and a lot of care and effort is put into getting that animal at huge cost. I mean, I think it's about $6,000 for the milk to get the animals weaned. So I think it's about a 90 to 120,000 rand for the the milk that we use in getting those animals to a weaning stage.
All right. Well, Nico, first and foremost, thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for taking some time out of your day, the start of your day, to spend it with us. I do want to share the link here if anyone would like to dig a little deeper into Rhino 911. The website is up there, and of course, anything that anybody can do to support that work is obviously much appreciated. And Nico, I'm wondering, when was the last time you were out on a call with the helicopter?
Well, we've had rhinos 2 weeks back that we brought in from another province, and the owner of the rhinos put them on an auction, because there was such a huge poaching on his farm. And since the time that the buyers bought the rhinos and the actual permits were issued, 6 were already shot. And Joe, I'm proud to say that I also my first rhino ever, and you know, they gave me a call out of the air to say that you know, they've just now, when they wanted to draw this animal, you can now imagine the trucks and the vets and everybody is there, that the animal has been shot. And I said, but what do you mean the animal? He said, well, the animal's been shot through the back. So would I, you know, do we still want to continue with the purchase? And I said, absolutely. Is it a critical? And I talked to the vet, and I said, well, you know, do we want to cancel the transaction? And he said, absolutely not. Let's get this animal. And I'm talking 2 weeks. What's it? 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks back. So we literally then got the animal and her calf, and on the farm that we offloaded them, the mother and the calf split up. And it doesn't always happen, but we were bad luck because we offloaded very early in the morning. The truck drove through the night. But to cut a long story short, is the mom and calf split up, and they didn't see each other for 4 days, and we were very, very worried because it's a young 5-month-old calf and it needs to drink milk. So we rallied everybody that we can get, and we got the helicopters out there, and we were very fortunate to find the calf alone, and the mother and the daughter both. Loaded them on the truck, and we took them to a safe place where we can treat her, and she's still there being treated for the bullet wound. Fortunately, it was a shot that went right through, and one side in, other side out, and that is being treated by our doctors now, and hopefully we can release her and the calf back in about a week's time.
All right. Well, it's great to hear some of those good news stories, because I think those are what keep people going sometimes. So, those victories, those big and small victories, I think are what keep a lot of people going and doing the work that they do.
Thank you, Joe, and just a huge shout out to you guys and to the World Rhino Rangers Day. I mean, I really take my hat off to these guys every day. As you know, last year we lost a very good friend in Pilanesberg that's been attacked by a lion. So these guys are really going out on a life and death situation, putting their lives at risks, to save these animals. Thank you for your platform, Joe. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to our people, and thank you for offering this time.
All right. Thank you, Nico. Have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to our next connection.
Thank you, Joe. All of the best, buddy.